What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. Today we're doing another workshop showcase packed with new game modes, hero redesigns, and other wackiness. But first, a quick news blurb. They've been patching the PTR to buff up the workshop, making it more reliable, getting rid of bugs, as well as increasing the complexity and length of scripts you can add to any given game mode, allowing for creators to make them even more complicated. Patches have slowed down though, so I would expect that the workshop could go out, launch to everybody as soon as next week with the anniversary event. As things have been going, I'd say it's a pretty safe bet, which is good because we've already had so many talented creators make up some awesome stuff for us to try out. First up, the thing I'm most excited for is CSGO mode in Overwatch, or CSGO Overwatch. This mode is a single life round-based bomb plant defusal mode with an economy system that you use to buy more upgraded equipment. You start off with a basic pistol, which has been nerfed to only have an 8-round capacity, but can get a rifle, submachine gun, or a sniper. With a lack of tanks and healers, the gameplay is tight and tense, with a lot of clutch moments that can have you reverse the fortunes of your entire team. So far, the mode right now is in its base fundamental form, but I'm most excited for the things that could be added to this, especially when you start to think about the hero redesigns, as well as other things that we're going to be showcasing in this video that could be put into this economy system to really spice up the round-based gameplay. I've always wanted to see a single life objective-based mode in Overwatch, and now we've got the makings of one. Really cool. Moving on to another big wishlist item for me. It's like a kid in a candy store today. This is 3-level KOTH Domination. If you don't know, control maps in Overwatch load in all 3 stages at the same time. It's just that you get sectioned off to play one at a time. But this mode unlocks that, making them all playable at once via teleporters that take you to the different stages. This type of gameplay would be a major switch up to Overwatch, which always has a single centralized objective. In this mode, heroes that have mobility or are more self-sufficient are going to reign supreme. You can't play some mass deathball comp in this kind of mode because you need to be able to contest the back cap on a point that's literally on a different stage. That's really cool. Moving on, we've got an update to on a paintball, which gets iterated on every time I turn around. It's had some optimizations, quality of life fixes. The jump pads work better, for instance, but my favorite aspect is this new taunt feature that showcases the final Ana taunting the second place victim after they win. For example, sleeping them into the well of Ilios to add insult to injury after you take the victory. Fun stuff. Next up, this one's a crazy one. Unstable deathmatch, or as I like to call it, Jason Statham Cranked, where every elimination increases the damage dealt, taken, and your move speed and your sensitivity, which results in some pretty wacky gameplay and kill streaks. Not for you? Well, how about Steal the Crown? This is a reverse tag game mode where players attempt to control the crown for as long as they can as Tracer as they dodge enemy Tracer pursuers. This is really good for practicing your blink mechanics and movement as you try to push up to grab the crown. A melee attack will nab it away or stun a nearby Tracer so you can get past them to nab the crown yourself. There's also a mechanic in it that stops you from camping, forcing you to move, so this isn't a hide and go seek mode. Non-stop action, go, go, go. If you want to slow things down, blow off a little steam, how about Oversports, which the creators also made this really elaborate intro video for it, modeled after the original Wii. This one will give you Torbjorn Bowling. After a stressful day of ranked playing with one tricks, you can release the frustration going bowling for Torbjorns. It's essentially Lucio Ball, but a lot funnier. Speaking of laughs, why don't we give Zenyatta the passive ability he deserves? How come if he's on solid ground, he's able to float, but as soon as he steps over a ledge, he falls to his death? Doesn't make sense. This one gives him a passive to allow him to hover. Thank goodness the game's finally playable. I thought this was cool. Brings back some old Call of Duty nostalgia. This is an AC-130, where they have it set up as a pickup, but you jump into an aerial viewed bastion, simulating the AC-130 raining death and destruction down on your enemies. Just saying, I think that one would be pretty neat in an economy-based single-life game mode, probably overpowered, and I know it's blasphemy to mix Call of Duty and CSGO together, but I think that's the end game of that economy system, allowing you to unlock some pretty nutty stuff. Maybe not that, but how about this new Ana mobility kit rework from Darwin that lets her sleep dart be a grappling hook, her nade being a speed boost, and she pretty much just gets all the mobility you could ever dream of. She has superpowers in this version. She gets Hanzo's wall climb and leap, and pretty much just goes and does whatever she wants. I think that would be kind of cool in economy-based single life mode, but that's just me. Anyway, moving on, the Ana rework as well as the rest of this section is all from DarwinStreams, the prolific workshop creator. This guy writes faster than Stephen King. This one puts the Apex Legends slide in for Baptiste. Pretty fun. Or how about, what would it look like if every hero had Tracer's Recall? I'm sure us tank players have had many an engagement where we walk into certain death that we would like to press a button to escape. I think it sounds fair. Or this one, I think has some serious workshop implications. A reworked Reaper that allows his Wraith form to go through walls. That's actually insane and of course overpowered, but I think could lend for some fun arcade gameplay. If you're tired of the silliness, here's some stuff for my try-hard, sweaty, ranked players out there like myself. First up is Darwin's Ana nade tool. This is incredible. It'll chart a path of an Ana nade so that you can set up long-distance nades to go wherever you want. With a little bit of practice, you can find game-changing engagement nades. The best part is this little purple cursor that you can utilize to line up exactly where you're trying to put it, making for finding these set nades a ton easier than it was otherwise. So much so, Blinky has already utilized this tool from Darwin. Get full held at Paris A no longer. He found this engagement nade, put yourself to a corner, look up at this angle, set your crosshair on this cloud or whatever. The entire enemy team gets anti-naded. That's a free push. All right, tank players, we haven't forgot about you. Here's Darwin's Reinhardt practice, which sets you up against a randomly generated Reinhardt who's either going to sneak in a shatter or a Rein pin, requiring you to react with the appropriate response. There also is an Ana sleep blocker mode in this as well. Here's another one I found called Diva Grav Eating Trainer. This locks you in against an enemy Zarya waiting to launch Grav at random intervals. To use this appropriately, I suggest that you try to distract yourself looking away and then react quickly to nab the grab before it hits your team. These focused practice modes are incredible to start. I'd like to see them start to buff up the win conditions and scoring of it to require you to multitask and force you to practice appropriately. So like if this diva mode required you to shoot at targets while reacting and get scored on doing both at the same time, I think that would be really legit. But Frito, all I want to do is click heads. Well, this next one is for you. Shout out to Baby Spark for sharing this with me on Twitter. I present to you the Advanced Training Range created by KOTH. This is spectacular for aim training and warm-up, most particularly if you remember in my big aim guide recently, I said how important it is to develop a flick shot in Overwatch because certain characters in certain matchups have no choice but to instantly flick if you have a hope to hit the target. Well, this flick shot trainer is intended to simulate the speed that Tracer moves, blinking across your screen, but the targets are up so briefly that you have to react so fast that you have no other option other than to flick. This is great practice and will force your muscle memory to learn how to flick if you don't have that as a strong aspect of your game. The next section puts you up against flying Anas, which is incredible midair practice. I found the Anas to disappear too quickly to make this very good for midairs with Pharah, but it's better than anything I've seen thus far, but is even better for heroes that stand on the ground trying to shoot up at aerial targets. You can really just zone out and grind hitting these very difficult shots, and as you become proficient at it, you'll be able to pull it out in game when you do get in the rare situations where the only shot available to you is a very difficult midair. But it's good for tracking practice as well because the targets are moving so fast and in 3 dimensions. You can even set yourself to permanently fly. So if you wanted to like practice your diva tracking aim speed, just soar in the air with these Anas for a while, trying to kill them at close range. It's a good kind of drill to get your aim speed up. And last is the classic Lucio bot trainer. This one's good for reading animations. Lucio has some of the hardest. This isn't the most difficult aim trainer. The other two are a bit harder because here, for some reason, the Lucios tend to stand around once in a while, which I think kind of defeats the purpose, but still really good for warming up or honing any of the other aiming techniques on a moving target. Last two that I'll leave you with, this one's called Fight for the King. It's a team deathmatch mode that assigns one player to be the king, and they have increased resistance and damage, but can't be healed. I think it's gonna be a really cool twist on the TDM game type, with the goal being to kill the enemy team's king. And here we've got Primal Basketball, which is a great way to practice your Primal Rage mechanics, requiring you to juggle an Ana into a goal. Well, that's just great. Guys, that's gonna be everything for today's workshop showcase video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Link to the description is our Twitter, where we tweet out news, updates, and dank memes. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.